Robert Palmer had everything going for him. The power station had exploded onto the scene with a superstar lineup, massive hits, and enough momentum to become one of the biggest bands of the decade. But just when it seemed Palmer was perfectly positioned to ride that success even further, he made a decision almost nobody expected. He walked away. To some, it looked like a huge mistake. Why leave a successful supergroup when they were at their hottest? But Palmer had his own plans, and what happened next completely changed the direction of his career. Instead of disappearing without the power station, he released the music that would transform his image, dominate MTV, and make him more famous than ever before. So why did Robert Palmer really walk away at the peak? And how did that risky decision lead to the biggest success of his career? But long before the power station, MTV, and the success that would make him a global star, Robert Palmer's story began far away from the spotlight. Robert Allen Palmer was born on January 19, 1949, in Batley, Yorkshire, England. But his childhood quickly took him far beyond Yorkshire. He spent part of his early life on a military base in Malta, where his father worked as a naval intelligence officer. Growing up in another country gave Robert a wider view of the world at an early age, something that would later show in his music and style. His obsession with music started young. Through American Forces Radio, Robert heard blues, soul, and jazz, while his parents played all kinds of music around the house. After returning to the UK at 12 years old, that interest only got stronger. As a teenager in Scarborough, Yorkshire, he studied art at Scarborough High School, but music was already pulling him in another direction. Traditional education wasn't really his lane. Palmer briefly studied graphic design at Scarborough School of Art and Design before leaving and taking a job at the Scarborough Evening News. But that chapter reportedly ended fast. According to accounts of his early life, police searched his rented room and found a cannabis joint, after which his job at the newspaper came to an abrupt end. Years earlier, in 1964, while attending Scarborough High School, Palmer, then going by his middle name Allen, had already started his first band, the Mandrakes. He might have been shy when he stepped onto a stage, but at just 15 years old, he became the band's lead singer and songwriter. That was the first real sign that music wasn't just a teenage hobby for him. Then, in 1969, Robert Palmer met Sue Thatcher, the woman who would become a major part of his personal life, and later his wife. Their story started at Slough Railway Station, and for Robert, Sue Thatcher was impossible to miss. She showed up wearing silver-colored boots with a matching mini dress, instantly catching his eye. But then came the detail that really sealed the moment. Sue was reading a Jack Vance novel, who happened to be Robert's favorite author. That random connection gave them an instant reason to start talking. Robert and Sue quickly clicked over their shared obsession with Jack Vance's books. They reportedly even swapped torn-out chapters so neither person had to sit around waiting to find out what happened next. Their connection went beyond one author, too. Both were into fantasy, poetry, biographies, fiction, and graphic novels, giving them plenty of common ground. Only 2 years after meeting, Robert and Sue married, and they later had 2 children. Their life together took them across the globe. They spent time living in New York City, relocated to the Bahamas during the 1970s, and eventually settled in Lugano, Switzerland in 1987. Their marriage came to an end in 1993, but Robert's music career had already gone through some major changes by then. Earlier, he'd joined the Alan Bown Set, later known simply as Alan Bown. As the group moved deeper into psychedelic and progressive rock, Robert sang on their 1969 single, Gypsy Girl, pushing his career into serious new territory. And that voice was getting harder to overlook. Robert made such an impression that the Alan Bown album was re-recorded with his vocals, giving the rising singer a serious boost. Then a club performance put him in the path of Island Records founder Chris Blackwell, and that meeting changed the game. After Robert spent time with jazz rock group Dada and later Vinegar Joe, his long-awaited solo career finally launched under Blackwell's guidance in 1974. Chris Blackwell has often spoken about meeting Robert and Sue Palmer at a club, and the encounter clearly stuck with him. Robert's smooth voice got his attention, but so did the singer's surprisingly deep knowledge of different kinds of music. Blackwell believed Robert had the goods to make it alone and wanted to sign him as a solo act. That call would become a key turning point, opening the door to years of experimentation and increasingly bigger records. In 1974, Robert officially stepped out on his own with Sneakin' Sally Through the Alley. Recorded in New Orleans, the album carried the funky influence of Little Feat and the Meters. Members of the Meters appeared on the record, while Little Feat's Lowell George contributed as both guitarist and producer. The combination gave Palmer a sound that was tough to put into one box. America responded more warmly than the UK at first, but the record steadily built his reputation as an artist who played by his own rules. Tracks including Sailin' Shoes, Hey Julia, and the title song showed just how easily Palmer could move between different musical flavors. After relocating to New York City, he released Pressure Drop in 1975, experimented with reggae through a Toots and the Maytals cover, hit the road with Little Feat, and eventually moved to the Bahamas, giving both his life and music another major change of scenery. By 1978, things were seriously heating up with Double Fun. The album included the Kinks' You Really Got Me and Every Kind of People, which broke into the U.S. Billboard Top 50. Then Secrets arrived in 1979 with the smash Bad Case of Loving You. Palmer kept switching lanes with Clues in 1980, delivering Johnny and Mary and Looking for Clues. Its sharp synth-pop sound and stylish videos pushed him straight toward the MTV generation, where his image would soon become almost as famous as his voice. The momentum kept rolling in 1982 with the EP Some Guys Have All the Luck. And as the decade moved forward, Robert's reputation started opening doors far beyond the microphone. He was becoming a serious force behind the scenes, too, working as a producer on Desmond Decker's 1981 album Compass Point and contributing to John Martin's Sapphire. Then, in April 1983, Palmer released Pride, featuring the title track and his cover of the System's You Are in My System, with the System's David Frank joining him on keyboards. But July 1983 brought a much bigger twist. Robert took part in Duran Duran's charity concert, an appearance that helped set the stage for one of the decade's most interesting supergroups, the Power Station. While Duran Duran was taking a break, guitarist Andy Taylor and bassist John Taylor joined forces with former Chic drummer Tony Thompson and Robert Palmer. On paper, it was already a wild lineup, mixing different musical backgrounds into a hard-hitting new sound. Their self-titled debut was recorded mainly at the New York studio that gave the Power Station its name before work was completed at Compass Point Studios in Nassau, Bahamas. The gamble paid off big. The album cracked the UK Top 20 and stormed into the US Top 10. Then came the hits. Some Like It Hot climbed all the way to number 6 in America, while their cover of T-Rex's Get It On, Bang a Gong gave the group another massive shot of attention. Get It On, Bang a Gong eventually reached number 9 on the US charts, actually landing one position higher than T-Rex's original recording. But just as the Power Station looked ready to take its success on the road, things got messy. Palmer performed with the group on Saturday Night Live, but later chose not to join their Live Aid era tour, deciding instead to focus on his solo career. The move stirred up criticism, with some commentators questioning his professionalism and accusing him of taking the Power Station's sound and using it for his own records. Robert wasn't about to let that claim slide. He rejected suggestions that money had motivated his involvement, and insisted that he had been instrumental in developing the group's signature sound. As he famously put it, Listen, I gave the power station that sound. They took it from me, not the other way around. That statement left little room for confusion. Palmer believed his fingerprints were all over the band's musical identity, even if his time with the supergroup turned out to be surprisingly short. In 1985, Robert headed back to Compass Point Studios and got to work on Riptide, a record that would send his career into another league. He reunited with Tony Thompson and Andy Taylor, while Power Station producer Bernard Edwards also came aboard. The chemistry clearly worked. Addicted to Love exploded to #1 in the United States and reached #5 in the United Kingdom, turning Palmer into an even bigger international star. But the song wasn't the only thing people couldn't stop talking about. Directed by Terrence Donovan, the Addicted to Love music video showed a sharply dressed Palmer performing alongside identically styled female models. Its slick, carefully staged look became one of MTV's defining images of the 1980s. And Riptide wasn't finished delivering hits. Palmer's cover of Cheryl's I Didn't Mean to Turn You On climbed to #2 in America and #9 in the UK. By 1987, Palmer was ready for another major lifestyle change. Concerned about rising crime in Nassau, he relocated to Lugano, Switzerland, and built his own recording studio. Then, in 1988, he dropped Heavy Nova, mixing bossa nova, hard rock, and soulful ballads in a way few mainstream singers would even attempt. Simply Irresistible became the album's monster hit, and its flashy video once again grabbed attention with a visual style that echoed the impact of Addicted to Love. Simply Irresistible raced to #2 on the US charts, becoming Palmer's final American top 10 hit. Meanwhile, the softer She Makes My Day reached #6 in the UK, showing that he didn't need pounding drums and flashy visuals to connect with listeners. In 1989, Simply Irresistible helped Palmer secure his second Grammy Award, while he also picked up another Brit Award nomination for Best British Male. Then came another unusual badge of fame. Rolling Stone named him the best-dressed rock star of 1990. Instead of milking one winning formula, Robert kept switching things up. His 1990 album Don't Explain produced 2 UK top 10 hits, including his collaboration with UB40 on Bob Dylan's I'll Be Your Baby Tonight and his take on Marvin Gaye's Mercy, Mercy Me. Palmer could have played it safe after his massive MTV success, but that wasn't really his style. He kept jumping between genres, testing new sounds and refusing to let the industry stick him in one musical box. That restless approach followed him straight through the 1990s. In 1992, Ridin' High looked back to the classic Tin Pan Alley era and exposed yet another side of Palmer's musical taste. 2 years later came Honey. The album received mixed reviews and failed to deliver a major US hit, but Palmer wasn't completely out of the game. Songs including Girl You Want, Know By Now, and You Blow Me Away still found an audience in Britain. Then, in 1995, his greatest hits collection surged to #4 on the UK charts, showing that even as musical trends changed around him, Palmer's back catalog still had serious pull. Robert also reunited with members of the Power Station for their second album, Living in Fear, released in 1996. But the comeback was hit by a painful setback following the death of bassist Bernard Edwards, the highly respected musician and producer who had worked closely with the group. Despite that difficult loss, Palmer kept moving, continuing to record new material and perform live rather than slowing down. In 1997, Robert appeared alongside Rod Stewart at Wembley, adding another huge stage to his long list of performances. Then came Rhythm and Blues, released first in Japan in 1998, before reaching the rest of the world the following year. The album leaned heavily into love songs and even turned into a family affair, with Robert's son Jim Palmer contributing percussion alongside Mauro Spina. Robert produced the project himself and recorded it in Milan with longtime engineer Pino Piscitella, continuing a creative partnership that had already stretched across several records. Then, in 2003, Palmer released Drive, his 14th and ultimately final studio album. Inspired partly by his involvement with a Robert Johnson tribute project and a request connected to the soundtrack for Tennessee Williams's The Yellow Bird, Palmer went deep into Delta blues and early rock and roll. After decades of jumping between soul, rock, reggae, pop, and electronic sounds, he was circling back to some of the music that had fired up his imagination in the first place. With Jim Palmer handling drums and percussion and Carl Carlton on guitar, Drive earned strong reviews and climbed to number 10 on the U.S. Blues Albums chart. Robert had barely begun promoting the record when everything changed. On September 26, 2003, just months after the album arrived, Palmer died suddenly from a heart attack while in Paris. He was only 54 years old, bringing his remarkable career to an unexpectedly early end. The news shocked his family, friends, fellow musicians, and fans around the world. Palmer had often been described as being in good health, although reports also noted that he was a very heavy smoker, reportedly smoking as many as 60 cigarettes a day. He was survived by his parents, Ann and Les, his brother Mark, his children Jim and Jane, his former wife Sue, and his partner Mary Ambrose. Robert Palmer was laid to rest in London, England, while a memorial service was also held in Lugano, Switzerland. His career had taken him from a shy teenager in Yorkshire to international fame, Grammy wins, massive MTV hits, and collaborations with some of music's biggest names. Decades later, that unmistakable voice, sharp style, and fearless approach to mixing genres continue to keep his music alive. But which Robert Palmer song do you think deserves the #1 spot, Addicted to Love? Simply Irresistible, or another track entirely? Drop your pick in the comments. And if you enjoyed Robert Palmer's incredible story, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what we've got coming next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.